That was fun.
Any more questions about my shit?
No, let's go.
No, we good. Welcome back, you guys. Welcome to 4-4.
Well, I got some funny shit for all y'all. All that shit we edited now. How about that? Alright, let's go. Weapon of choice. We're gonna talk about gun control in today's society. This is a very touchy topic. We'll start from all the way left to go right.
Okay. That's the left, right?
You.
No, that's the right.
All the way left.
Just start. Oh, okay.
Oh, you want me to start? Mm-hmm. Okay, so crime is crazy right now. Absolutely absurd. I think that I'm not saying I don't know what's the level of bad that it needs to be before we start doing things, and
specifically gun crime or crime in general?
Crimes that you would feel like is a threat to you making it home from the train station or making it home successfully the way you left the train and the way you got home. There's no difference in your life, but it seems like a lot of people are not making it to the train station without a complaint of someone doing something to them. You know, there's a lot of problems in our community, and I don't know if we should just be left alone. I don't think that report times or even, I think we've handicapped our police departments in a way where they can't say or do what's needed, and I just want to know if that's the case, if we've pushed too far, and if we pushed too far and now here we are where we can't make it from the train to our homes without being altered. Should they also loosen some restrictions on who should be able to have a gun and what those qualifications should look like? I'm just saying, maybe upstanding citizens who have taken care of their responsibilities, who would like to feel safe, would like to be able to ward off a threat because the empty-handed civilian who's just trying to get home is no threat to someone who wants to take it a little bit further. But if there's a knowledge that more and more good, upstanding citizens have weaponry, I'm just saying, maybe even that could be a deterrent to the type of crime that we see.
So are you referring to like New York area?
Yeah, I'm talking about the places in which...
Because other places have like looser gun laws, like Florida.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the most restrictive of them all. You know, the places in which where, you know, you have to either be a cop or, you know, do something, you know, something...
Military
yeah, something outstanding in order to receive a permit, so...
What do you got, Ernesto?
No, me personally, this is like we talked about episode 2. I'm kind of removed from that situation. You know what I mean? I'm no longer living in that environment from where I live at now.
Also, you don't care about
this?
You leaving
listen,
me?
No, I'm not
Don't
leaving.
leave me.
Listen, they're leaving.
I'm scared, man.
But, you know, knowing that where I once lived there and how the people there are now suffering from certain violence that's with guns, because these young boys, they don't care no more. And they're getting looser and looser and looser with shooting people, doing random stuff with gun violence now. So it has to come to a certain stop. But it's like, how do you find the common medium between back in the day when they used to stop and frisk to now able to figure out how to get these kids off the street with the guns? And it's becoming a problem. And it's just like, I just want to know, like, for me, like I said, I'm not there no more, but from me watching the news, you see it all the time, and you gotta come to something. Something has to change. The environment has to change. Parents need to be more parents, and you know your kid bad. Stop sitting here and making excuses for them and being like, you know what, he's a saint. He done got locked up 10 times for robbing people. Like, let's send his ass away. You know what I mean? And we need to do a change, and we have to better police our own community. It comes to a point too where I feel in our own community we don't say nothing. We talked about this before. No one says nothing. Somebody gets shot, you know who shot that boy. No one says nothing. And that's why they can continue to do these things. And now it become once that problem become a major problem, it's hard to stop now. Because now everybody got them. Everybody don't scared. No one's scared of the repercussions and the consequences. And now it's like, what do you do? Do you go back to how it was in the 90s when they used to, when I used to live there? I remember riding my bike, I had a cell phone in my pocket. Cop told me, what you got in your pocket? Run down on you. Mm-hmm. Luckily, I ain't have nothing on me. Well, I wasn't in the wrong of anything, but at the end of the day, it did deter a lot of individuals from doing what they're doing now. And I think they need to bring it a slight back, but...
We're going to that one. I don't want you to hit that too much. We
go ahead.
We hit that on smash grab. I don't want to go too deep, brother. Go ahead. What we got?
You're talking about gun control, right? I honestly don't know how to even tackle this question because I feel like there are pros and cons to gun control, but also gun liberty to some degree. If you think about the people that own guns, most don't own guns with the intention of committing a crime. And I mean own guns, meaning that their fingerprint are, and have paperwork on their possessions, not people that purchase illegal firearms off the street. But we also know that guns and that kind of illegal activity are also big business. So they are out there. So if you understand that they are within most communities, and I won't even say most hoods in terms of black neighborhoods, they're in white neighborhoods, they're in neighborhoods throughout America more than they are other countries. And I believe there are more guns in this country than there are actual people.
Yeah, probably in the world.
Yeah, and the climate that we are in today in terms of 2023, I know that Texas, for much longer than most other states, but Georgia and I think even Florida, you don't necessarily need a license to own.
I think June 1st, I think they just, don't quote me on this, I think as of like June 1st in Florida, like you don't need nothing, you can just go in the store and be like, yeah, we get two of them little 20.
Yeah. But even to a certain extent prior to that, like you could go into a Walmart. I remember I visited Texas.
They got them out there on display.
Yeah, I was literally driving past what I thought was a Walmart, and I was out there on vacation, so I was like, I'm about to go ahead and grab some new underwear and some socks. And as I started approaching this big ass super center, it wasn't a Walmart, it was a gun and ammunition super center, but it was bigger than a Walmart. And I was like, damn, the freedom and liberties that they have out here allows everybody to access this type of infantry, for lack of a better word, where we up here in the Northeast, we don't know anything about that, because if you get caught with one, you're likely facing a,
3 years.
At least, a minimum mandatory sentence. So we don't look at it like that, but at the same time, we look at safety from a different perspective, because knowing that everybody does not have the same access to it, you feel that you have to protect yourself more, knowing that your potential enemy does. So knowing that the environment you're in and the methods that you have to protect yourself, I don't necessarily think that guns are a benefit to any environment. I honestly think it's the biggest threat to humanity as a whole. Like they are weapons of mass destruction that can wipe out entire populace. Most people don't have access to that, but most people could access a gun probably within a matter of 1 to 2 hours if they really committed to it and called the right people. And I think that factor of it is scary, that they're going to keep producing at the same amount of rates. And the violence, as much as we like to be curbed in America or even the world as a whole, it looks like there's no opportunity for it to slow down.
I take multiple approaches on this one. The first one is actually a question I have for you guys. You know how people say like crime is on the rise, right? Actually like murders and stuff are down significantly from like years ago, right? So maybe I believe a part of it is that we have access to it visually. Now we're seeing the murders, or now we weren't seeing them before. But back in the day, like the mobs and the gangs and all that, they were killing a lot of people, like thousands and thousands. So murders and violent crimes are significantly down from maybe like 15, 20 years. The contrast to that is the problem that I have with the entire situation when we're specifically isolating the gun laws. So the gun laws, even when we talk about the mandatory minimums of 3 years, is bullshit. Because I know people who got arrested for a gun for a weekend and then go back home with charged with attempted possession of a firearm, because it doesn't meet the criteria for some of these judicial systems to say let's put this person away. Because you have people advocating for releasing people from jail, whatever their motives are. Like in New York specifically, they're trying to shut down Rikers Island, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm not saying that's a good motive. Whatever their motives are to do that. So you more likely see with bail reform and stuff, people get locked up for firearms and things of that nature, and they're getting released faster than they probably would have in the past, where it's like quote unquote mass incarceration. So there's a fine balance between overly policing or overly, I don't want to say policing because I don't want to put it on them. I want to say overly jailing people as opposed to the balance of, like you said, feeling safe. I think the feeling safe when people say I got a gun to feel safe, for the most part, not all the time, is a scapegoat, right? It's hard for me to say because I am a gun owner, I have multiple guns. So at the end of the day, it's hard for me to say, does it make me feel a little bit more safe? I'm not gonna lie, yes. So most of the time if I'm somewhere, I will, but I'm not stupid either. Like if I have my jewelry on and I'm somewhere and I'm by myself, I'm not asking for that type of attention. So, you know what I mean? But at the same time, I think that we need to check the people, not the gun. I have a perfect example. I have a 50 cal, right? Handgun. It'll take your fucking body off, right? Handgun. Yeah, it's a hand cannon, right? My gun has yet to get up out the box and shoot somebody by itself. But every time somebody does something bad, we start talking about the gun laws, and the gun laws only affect the people, like you said before, the law-abiding citizens who are really trying to fill out for the thing. They don't affect the people, because if you want to buy a gun, you're gonna get a gun. That's just what it is. You know. So I think the problem lies on the end of what's the play off what you said, the result. What's the result if I spin the block and I shoot somebody? If you shoot somebody, what's the result of that? What's the consequence? When people start realizing back in the day they used to rob people for their 8-ball jackets and shoot them or whatever the case was, then at the end of the day, then after a while people are like, damn, we going to jail for fucking 8-ball jackets. And the word would get out, like, dudes get locked up for that shit, I'm not doing it no more. So that people, whatever. Then you had a small amount of people who are just criminals who did that. But now we have broadened the spread of people saying, fuck it, I'm not a shooter, but I will become a shooter today because ain't no consequences. Before, when we were young, it was like, Beacon's a shooter, Stewart not a shooter, Mike's a shooter. Like, so you call that, Beacon on the block, somebody getting shot. You know that, not saying that Beacon was a shooter. Let me not put that out there. I'm just using it as an example. I'm just saying, I don't want to say that, but I'm just saying, like, if everybody knows that this person is coming to the block and the argument starts, it's going to escalate. Now, you could just be arguing with the dude at the corner store and then pop, who got shot. So I don't know if the gun laws, like you said, with the amount of guns, I don't know if that needs to be controlled as opposed to the people who are using the guns need to be controlled.
That's why I said involve us, regular everyday citizens who are doing better.
I don't know if that's a good idea, especially in a city like New York where it's so overpopulated. Any quick argument could turn into me shooting you.
Yeah, but how many, like you said, we do have more access to it. So how many of those videos do we have to see where someone is being stripped completely out of their sneakers? Like, these are dirty. I just had these on and it's my feet. Like, these are my feet. Like, you take those two, like completely taking everything off that person, that wouldn't, I think it would, when you walk in other places and you notice someone else has a gun, you act a little bit different. The good morning is way different.
You might get shot first. Because again, like you said, the mentality.
No. There'll be a wave of that until we realize, no, every time you put your hand on a civilian, you could die. That's what I'm saying. There'll be a wave, there'll be an increase of like, whoa, civilians are getting crazy out there. Us street dudes lost another one.
Or you bring back Bloods and Crips type behavior where back in the days everybody used to fist fight and then there was something that turned into you shot somebody and this person shot somebody.
We're not getting rid of guns, so there's no fist fight.
The thing is that,
you know what I'm saying? The escalation of it.
The thing is that we have now, literally in today, we have a controlled climate. We have Texas to look at, we have Georgia to look at, where everybody does have access to a gun.
It's not the same as
it is, because this is what I'm saying. I know that when I leave this immediate environment in terms of Jersey, New York, and go to see my daughter out in Texas, I know when I land and I go to the corner store, the motherfucker that cut me off, I'm more or less likely to curse at him in traffic. I'm more or less likely to look at the person that, you know what I mean, looked at me walking back from the gas station. I ain't gonna be like, fuck is you looking at? Because that might be a crazy young person that has access to
That's
a
true,
gun.
except for in New York, our pigeons cross the street on foot, bro.
Yeah, but imagine if all pigeons had a gun.
Some of them probably do.
No, some of them. But imagine
I'm just saying.
if we had the potential to know that everybody in New York was armed. I feel like, the interactions, the hellos, would be a less...
But that's why I say to flip it to that is a lot of people, you don't know no more. You assume that most people do.
Hold on, I'm sorry.
You see a young boy riding around, because first of all, people, it's hot at almost 90 degrees in New York. People still walk around with masks. So at the end of the day, if you got a bubble jacket and a mask on at this point, you got a gun, to me. Right? But that don't mean that a crazy New York, like my wife will curse at, she got fishbowl tents, and she like, you cut me off. I tell you, you gotta stop doing that because somebody will pop your top. You can't assume that the person that next to you don't have anything on them. Like,
that's
in Texas, because in Texas, it's a little bit more, I mean, from what I know, it's a little bit more friendly. New York is a real, fuck you looking at. It's a big what the fuck you looking at town.
We, as civilians, understand. We watch you guys get handicapped. You guys are handicapped. A lot of people was like, I got 9 more years on the job. Ain't no way in the world I'm grabbing up somebody, getting caught doing something that someone's gonna misinterpret. So there's been a lot of hands-on policies. I watched it be more Ubers on the street. I mean, more paper plates, more false and temporary tags than Ubers on the street at one point. But when you change the narrative to, if you stop them, that's racial profiling, it goes, okay, so we've handicapped the people who are supposed to save us. My response time should be, what? Someone's over there doing you harm? I'll be right there.
And this is why I came on with to say, how do you find the median? How do you compromise as far as for police officers and the people of that community?
I would like to give the power back to the police department. I would.
Well, the problem is this. I told you, I think this is a big thing I think I have a problem with. I think a problem with a lot of people are arguing the facts for the criminals. You can't fight for the criminals if you're not of that element. In my opinion.
It sound like my argument was?
No.
All right,
I'm just saying, when people protest, right, are more than likely, when you're watching a protest, whatever the protest is, most of these people have not suffered the atrocities of the protest that they're talking about. Not saying that they can't speak out, but like if you look in New York, right, people will be protesting, where are you from? I'm from Canada. It's like, what the fuck are you here for, clogging up a New York station, doing whatever just to do a protest? I don't knock people for having a voice or feeling wrong about it, but the people, like, there's people who every day commit crimes or every day people who have guns, right? There's a gun guy, right? Like, again, we all know the guy in the neighborhood who has that thing on him when you like, yeah, I don't argue with Tony because Tony got that thing on him, right? Mm-hmm. But the moment you jump out as a police officer, if there's a police officer driving around and I'm minding my business and I see the police officer jump out on Tony and I go, yo, why'd he just stop him for no reason?
That's wrong.
In my mind, right? In my mind, it's for no reason. I'm not knowing that his job is that he knows Tony to be carrying the gun, or he had information that Tony was carrying the gun, or whatever his job is. I don't know that. But it's only in that field that we all become professionals, right? At no point ever as a doctor doing a surgery and you bust in the room and say, no, sorry, you gotta, no, make that incision to the left. You don't do that. It's only when police officers are working that we feel, hey, I can do that job too. Let me jump in there and tell you what you should and shouldn't do.
And this is what I said to the beginning, earlier when I said, like, as far as us as people in the community. You understand? We have to do a better job of allowing cops to, and we all know who's who, to be able to suffer their consequences. And I think a lot of times, as we talked about the marijuana, you understand? Like, we'll sit here and fight for these things, knowing that they're not supposed to be doing these things at that particular time because that's the law. The law is the law. And now, if you want to do what you want to do, you got to deal with the consequences, regardless of what it is, because the law is the law. And you know it, everybody know it, but at the same time, we just get so caught up in trying to police our neighborhood in the wrong way. I feel like if we police our neighborhoods in the right way, as far as saying, hey, look, you know what? You ain't supposed to be doing what you're supposed to be doing. As far as calling the cops, or maybe, hey, he out here doing whatever it is, and allowing the police to
or telling the person, if you have a voice of that person, to say, yo, Mike, you can't be around here with your gun around my kid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can't be around here.
Yeah.
But at the same time,
I don't mean that. I don't mean that.
No, wait. At the same time, I think we also have to look at the fact that we can't remove guns. So we have to understand
You
that.
have the right to bear arms, brother.
No, I'm saying even if we didn't have the right to bear arms, you cannot remove guns from our society. If we make them illegal, like you said in your argument, the people that want to possess guns and that will use them to do harm and to have ill intent, they're gonna find access to guns, whether they're legal or not.
100%.
So if the argument is, should we allow everyday citizens to carry, there are still pros and cons to that. But like I said, with the controlled environment in Texas or Georgia or Florida coming June 1st potentially, if you know that the potential is for everybody to have them, then there's, again, pros and cons to that situation. But I don't think that, I'm gonna say I don't think the cons outweigh the pros. But at the same time, I would prefer there be absolutely none. And knuckle up.
I want my gun.
I would like to.
So no guns for you. Guns for you?
I was saying I would like to give the power back to the police department, but we have to enable.
I'm not saying no guns. I'm saying that everybody can have guns.
No, you want everybody to have guns.
Could have guns, yeah.
You want the right.
I don't want everybody to have guns, but if it's a law, then everybody can have guns.
Give guns.
I'll say not saying everybody should.
Guns and butter or just guns?
I said people should be able to get them, but like you said, if you go and get it the legal way and the right way, 9 times out of 10, those are the people that you really don't have to worry about. It's the people that get in the way that they're not supposed to that you really have to worry about. So
legal guns.
Yes, legal guns.
Carry license, not just home license. You want people to be able to carry them, be able to carry.
Yeah, you gotta have it the right way, because if you have it the right way, you're not eager because you did it the right way.
Okay.
As a person, you went, got your fingerprints, you did whatever you needed to do.
Maybe want some sort of training too.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah,
maybe
that too.
Training.
Psychological training as well, because a lot of times we see these mass shootings at these schools, and people are going through their mental whatever they're going through, and they go.
So maybe do like a mandatory thing, like every few months you have to go get trained, check, see a therapist.
No, I'm a civilian, nigga. I don't want to do none of this. No, I don't want to do none of this. I want to go to work. I want to go to work. I don't want to have to carry a gun. I don't want to get trained. I don't want to be a better army man. I don't want us to be. I don't want us to be 300. Where what is your profession? I don't want to do that. I want to be a farmer. I want to be a carpenter. I want to live my life.
You said you a gun to a farmer.
The cop signs up, the police department signs up and says, the farmer let him farm. Somebody mess with his farm, we'll take care of that. I want the urgency to be, yo, I got you, don't worry. You over where? The same way I would call family, I want the police department to be my family. Yo, Uncle Roger, look.
I'm over here farming.
I had my phone, I was doing what I was supposed to be doing. I wasn't doing harm to nobody, but now I'm short 3 cattle, somebody come take care of this. And then you go, this is Uncle Roger, and I'm coming over there, don't worry about it. That's what I want. I want to farm. I just want to live my life. I don't want to bother nobody. I don't want this whole army with New York versus Philadelphia. Oh, are we the best? Are we the strongest? Can we shoot the most accurate? No, I don't want to have these wars. Let's just go back to some people.
But you're not going to have the wars because of the people that's getting them is not really worried about that. As far as that, like you don't. And at the end of the day, it's not mandatory. You don't have to have it. You don't have to have it. It's not no one's forcing you to get it.
I get what you're saying though. You don't want to. You don't even want to feel like you're put in a position to have to own it.
Yeah, but still, like again, the people who get it 90% of the time. People that are going out there and getting it the right way are not the ones that you really have to worry about. It's the ones that get
some more of us.
Can I tell y'all one crazy contrast story? So obviously, like y'all, like everybody, not everybody, but like y'all, I grew up in the hood, so I'm used to hearing about people getting their doors kicked in, getting their shit robbed, coming home and having their shit taken. It happened to us, and I ended up in my junior year of high school moving down to Georgia, to Kennesaw, Georgia, which was one of the, I think it was the only town in the entire country where if you are a homeowner, you are required to own a weapon. You have to have a weapon in your home to defend your home if you own a home.
You probably got a police department of 2.
No, absolutely not. But the point is that I never felt more safe in my home and in the entire neighborhood because I knew that nobody is coming to front door, the back door, the side door, because they understand that everybody on this mother effing block has a weapon. Everybody in this neighborhood, everybody on the next block, until I go to the next damn city has the potential to kill me if I mess with their shit.
Yeah.
So in that environment, it stood as a pro to me. But if it were in the environment I grew up in, where everybody in the hood, in every neighborhood, in every apartment had the potential to kill me, I would feel much more less safe.
I get what you're saying, but I think that those are pretty established places. Like once we've dealt with crime, of course now this makes sure that when we settle in differences that it doesn't escalate.
Homeowners. That was my contrast about it being New York. New York is too dense and there's too much attitude for guns. I mean, and I feel to be just.
But look at the population of Texas.
It's not the same thing as New York.
It's bigger.
You have a train system.
It's bigger.
You can be in the train and motherfuckers.
Texas, not the city.
Texas is not New York.
Texas is bigger, I'm saying.
Listen. It's probably more people in anywhere, you can pick a place, it's not New York.
No, I'm saying they have much more people that have guns. There's more people, there's more guns.
But that's not the...
But it goes back to what he said.
I know what he's saying in terms of like a metropolitan area.
No. What I'm saying is Texas, I think, was established with in a certain vein, is what I'm saying. New York was trained, and there's a New York attitude. It's not the same thing. Yeah, like when you're in Texas, it's like, hey neighbor, even in our nice neighborhoods.
Southern hospitality.
Yeah, up here it's a big difference, bro. People get a mad attitude with you with your big. They'll call you out your name, think you Arab or something, and then start saying racial slurs just because you walk down the block, find out that you're black.
But let me ask you this: if everybody, including the Arabs and the taxi cab drivers, had a weapon, would that shit really happen?
No, what I'm saying is, in New York, you don't know.
I'm not advocating for it. I'm saying if you did know that everybody in New York had the same potential as Texas to have a weapon, do you think those New York interactions today?
I'm telling you, I can't answer you honestly because New York's mentality. People in New York, you been in the Bronx?
I'm telling you, tomorrow the law changes. Tomorrow, I'm saying the law changes tomorrow.
You been in the Bronx?
I know what you're saying.
The Bronx is 1996 in the Bronx. It's not 2000. It's not 2023. It's 1996 right now in the Bronx. They still doing shit that we did in 96 in the Bronx right now. If you gave all those people in the Bronx guns, it'd be crazy.
We know the Bronx in Florida is crazy. We know.
Yes.
We know that.
Now Florida got a little bit more sense. They still crazy.
Charlamagne will tell you. The Bronx and all the Florida.
But the Bronx is something different, bro. New York is different, bro. Best.
And that's why I don't believe in arming our civilians. I would like to go on to the next part, and I'll just go straight to it because I would like.
Read the card. Read the card.
Smash drive. Here we go.
You gotta do the dance.
Stop and frisk in New York City.
Bring it back. Bring it back.
Push it back or bring something.
Bring back stop and frisk.
Why?
No.
Why?
Because I want to empower the police department. I want the police department to feel like this is our job. We are here to keep our city safe, not to just collect pensions. So, and I'm not saying that that's a good or bad thing. I'm just saying I know that when we handicap you and you have to protect yourself so much and you don't have the power of the people behind you, then your hands are tied to do certain things. And I want to empower you. So here you go. I'll stop for a second. I'll answer your questions.
In my pockets. Play pocket pool.
I don't like it. I'm just saying.
Don't fucking.
Just like deploy new technology.
The robot dog. You see the robot dog now?
Maybe there's a certain amount of iron in the human body, but a body holding a weapon
now you
got
a little bit more iron.
Still,
I'm just saying. Hold on. Let me explain.
Finish.
Institute technology. We're using technology in every way possible.
I know.
You get to shoot the tracking device on the car so you don't have to chase people. So now there's no high-speed chases, right? There's no high-speed chases because you can shoot that. Now, if you want to get guns off the street...
This thing with it, it's like an AR-15, but they shoot it, hits the car, and it tracks the car.
They stole that from Wakanda.
Yeah, probably did. Probably Wakanda, yeah.
So, there's employ new technology. You want guns off the street? Maybe we don't have to invade your person to know that there's 4 people in this elevator, but the iron level says that there's 2 guns in here. Maybe your elevator closes for a second until the police can come downstairs.
You bringing in technology. Bring it back to stop and frisk. Why is stop and frisk a beneficial method of policing in today's society?
Because someone has to work.
It's a deterrent. Pretty much just saying, if you know that any given moment you walking down and a cop see you and you somewhere or you outside, he has the ability to stop you. 9 times out of 10, you're not gonna have the shit on you.
That's for criminals.
But
it goes for everybody.
But if it goes for everybody, you're right, and that's why I say you gotta come to a common ground. Because at the end of the day, a cop don't get. Sometimes he can tell, and sometimes he can't tell.
So I'm asking if he can't tell and he's frisking you, let's say 2 or 3 times a week, you still okay with it?
That's a deal.
That's it.
Yeah, we go out at that point.
Go out.
Yeah, we go out at that point.
That's not the question though. The question is, you're talking about criminals. And we're not talking, they're not stopping just criminals. They don't have a 100% rate of just picking out criminals. Let me finish. Then they wouldn't need to stop and frisk. The point is they're going to stop and frisk everybody with the point of catching.
They're not going to stop and frisk everybody.
You ever been stopped and frisked?
Yes, I have.
Yes. Was it because you were a criminal?
No.
Me too.
But I haven't been stopped and frisked. But you gotta understand. Those
I was stopped and frisked because they're all criminals.
Yeah.
Exactly. But I'm saying you're talking about. But you're saying bring back stop and frisk. They're not just bringing back stop and frisk for criminals. Stop and frisk comes back for everybody, including your son, your nephew, your uncle, your grandfather. That comes back for everybody.
Okay.
That's okay. I'm saying that's okay. If you're walking down the street twice a week, or your grandfather, or your dad, you're okay with that.
No, nobody's making the extreme. I'm just saying
that's not the extreme. That's stop and frisk.
That's not stop and frisk. Don't do that. Don't do that. Because now you're ruining what someone would be petitioning.
I'm just saying I've been stopped and frisked more than 1 time. Never had a weapon.
2 or 3 times a week, Mike, you was stopped.
I'm saying period if it happened in your life.
No. You just made the example.
I know I made the example, but that was an extreme example. The period
that's why I said don't do that.
If it happens to your grandfather once a year.
Hold on, Mike. The reason why I said don't do the extreme is because when you make it such a horrible and terrifying thing, people won't get
once.
Mike, let me finish.
Once.
Let me get 100, please.
Go for it.
So when you make the stop and frisk idea so terrifying that 2-3 times a week we will be stopped, and that is to save our city, that's a cost way too high. But what stop and frisk actually is a cop who has of detection and figures out that there's certain signs. You got this ski mask on. I know that whether COVID is allowing it or whatever the case might be, you still got your ski mask on. That's not enough, right? But you add that with the way your pants is bulging right there. Okay, that's not enough. There's something else. That's another.
That is enough.
Hold on. Don't make it so extreme. Understand exactly what it is. It's an opportunity for us to clean up our city. And if you want to step and make those extreme cases, then we'll never understand what stop and frisk is. That's it. That's all I'm saying. Now you go ahead and...
The extreme is not that it's going to happen 2 or 3 times a week. The extreme is that it has the potential to. If you have the potential to walk down the street like my nephew does with his ski mask 5 times a week, then you do have the potential to be stopped. If you're wearing your pants like that every single day of the week, then you do have the potential to stop. You keep saying that's not enough, that is enough. But that has been enough for me to be stopped. That has been enough for me to be walking too early in the morning going to the train. That has been enough for me to just look like the young black boy walking through a white neighborhood. That has the potential to stop and frisk every single person. So whether it does happen 2 or 3 times a week, whether it happens 2 or 3 times in your life, whether it happens 1 time to the little boy who is so scared that it changes his whole fucking life, that is extreme.
I'm just saying, why are we arguing for the criminal? You do realize that you're giving cover. What I'm saying is don't provide the cover for them.
Listen, so you asked the question why we're not arguing for the criminal. When you started it off, you said you wanted to give power to the police. So you're arguing for the police. What I'm arguing is for every single body, every single person. So if you do have probable cause to stop and search someone, then do so. But if you're saying just bring it back because
I just said that. You tried to limit how much it is. I said that the cop would have enough. I said that the cop would have enough knowledge that ski mask plus this. I said that ski mask plus the way your pants are may not be enough. Their level of training will say that there's one more element or two more elements that I can look at the way you drag your leg.
So why did it stop?
Because you guys keep using it.
Let me say that because they stopped because they were using that. They were saying he looks like a criminal.
It was being stopped. My opinion, it more got stopped like anything. It was getting abused. At the end of the day, it was a great tool, and it is a great tool. The problem is when you have 36,000 police officers in New York City, you can't expect 36,000 people to be good at that.
We gotta stop using New York City though.
Well, that's what we're talking about because we're not talking about stopping frisk in California. California they don't have that same problem. We're talking about in New York City. Go ahead.
And what I was going to say too, a lot of times when we're talking about these areas, these are the areas heavily crime rated. So you got to understand where your demographic is. You're in a nest egg, a hub of crime. So you got to be conscious. If you're a law-abiding citizen, you have to be conscious. You shouldn't be walking down there in with this fucking ski mask because now you asking for a motherfucker to sit there and say, yo, what are you doing? You're looking for something. Now
because I asked them to do it.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So at the end of the day, you got to be mindful of who you are. When you go to work, you know you can't talk how you want to talk. You got to talk the way in the formal manner. You conform. You know if you want to do whatever the fuck you want to do, you can't do certain shit that's going to bring attention to yourself. So again, I don't live there no more. I don't give a fuck. I'm just saying.
I think the ski mask element too. I think the ski mask element too does bring up a good point. You can't walk around with a ski mask because never mind the police stopping you.
Anybody looking at you?
Who you interacting with a ski mask?
Let me play devil's advocate on that topic. Go ahead.
My view on the whole stop and frisk thing. I think it was a great tool. I think it was a great tool that definitely made everybody. It deterred crime.
That's what it was
I do understand the element of saying, like, what about the one time that happens to the person and they feel hurt? I know this is going to sound wrong and fucked up, but I told you guys it's like episode 1 and 2. I don't give a fuck. Because if I saved a life over there and that person didn't die, if we weren't crying about a 16 or 15 or 1-year-old getting shot in the face, as opposed to your feelings being hurt for being stopped, because no man wants to be stopped and touched. I don't care if you're wrong, right, or indifferent. But at the end of the day, if you had to sacrifice your comfortability about being stopped, for me, I think that's a just due to save somebody else's life. You could have just got finished arguing with your girlfriend. You could have just got finished arguing with your husband, whatever. You don't feel like the interaction. You running late for your train, and now you got some fucking cop who may not speak English or whatever, or they're nervous and they're acting whatever, and you got a whole bunch of negative interaction. I do understand the element. But in that same breath, we can't ignore the fact that we don't turn on the news and say somebody got shot or robbed, and it's not because they don't have a gun. And they feel empowered to walk around. And it's not just black people, it's white people, it's everything. Yeah. It's people feel empowered to walk around with these things. The reason I think that the tool was taken away is because we had a new administration, we had a new mayor administration who came in. And his mentality was that, to me, he weaponized what that was. He weaponized the police department against it became...
Say his name. Say his name. We know who he is. Say his name.
He weaponized the police department.
He hanging out with your homeboy. Say his name.
But listen, crime was down ridiculous.
No, but I'm not saying...
And that's what I'm saying. So sometimes there's give and take. And then you said to find a happy medium, there's no happy medium. There's no happy medium. It's just you either feel like this is gonna happen or this is gonna happen.
It is a happy medium. I'm gonna tell you why it's supposed to happen.
Let me just finish the last part. And there's no happy medium because we saw what a safe city looked like when everybody felt comfortable coming to New York. And yeah, you get your feelings hurt when you got stopped and frisk, but we knew what a safe city looked like.
It is.
Under Giuliani, under Bloomberg, we knew what a safe city looked like. After that,
it was ape shit.
There was not a safe city. Yeah. And the problem becomes when now you gotta walk your 14-year-old. Because before you used to have to walk your 5 and 6-year-old to the... Now you gotta walk your 14 and your 17-year-old not because of the cops. You wasn't just worried about the cops. You were worried about them getting jumped, robbed, killed, maimed, everything. As 16, 17-year-old, when we was under that specific administration, under Giuliani, under Bloomberg, we walked all the way around Brooklyn. We was in Bed-Stuy, Brownsville, Crown Heights, everywhere. I was from Bed-Stuy. I was in Crown Heights every day. Nobody flexed on me. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I was with y'all. I wasn't the toughest person in the world, but we was in the park at all times of night, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. Nobody ever popped off on me.
We talking about two different spectrums right now, though, because honestly, if you're from the inner city in any state in this country right now, you're more worried about gang violence and the peers of your children and their interactions with them. If you're in the suburbs, you're more likely worried about the interactions between your children, black children, and the cops. And the reason let me finish. The reason I'm gonna say that is because you gave an example and you said as a citizen, I don't give a fuck. If it saves somebody else's life, that's understandable. And I'm not gonna give an extreme situation, but put myself in your shoes as a father. Mm-hmm. I was like 14 years old and I was talking about walking to the train station. And it was probably like 6:30 in the morning. I was actually on my way to a church retreat kind of thing, like up in Harlem. Mm-hmm. And I had got stopped and frisked by the cops, laid down, face first on the asphalt type shit. Yeah, understandable. But you laughing right now, but imagine that's your son.
Yeah, no.
You're the only one that's raising a son, and you're saying you don't give a fuck as a citizen, but as a father, I'm saying, imagine, you ain't even got to answer that. I'm just saying.
He said he got a 50 cal. He's not worried about his son.
That's funny, but that's not going to happen. That's funny, but that's not going to happen for anybody in America. Nobody's going to pull that up.
But I will answer you to that. As my son, I will teach him the values of what it's like to be. I know how I look when I leave the house. Right? I know exactly how I
said that.
I'm not gonna lie.
What does that mean? You're black, you saying?
No, I ain't just black, bro. I ain't just black. First of all, I know how I look, bro. I'm intimidated.
What does that mean?
I'm intimidated. I don't care if you black, white, Spanish, whatever.
I'm talking about a 13-year-old boy, 14-year-old boy.
I know when I was 14, I was intimidated, bro.
Yeah. I'm talking about me. All right, I'm not. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm just saying. So if it was my 14-year-old son, yes, it's a traumatizing experience. I would talk him through the experience. I would not still then trade in. If that's the level of safety, it's like when I go to the bank and when they ask me to do my signature all over again, if I want to take out thousands of dollars, I'm not annoyed by that. I'm happy that you're protecting my money as the same way you'd be protecting my son if everybody got the same treatment.
Okay.
If Stewart's son got the same treatment, if John's son got the same treatment, if that was a thing, then I'll be comfortable with it.
Okay, but at the same time, do you honestly feel like if that was the neighbor John's son, and you know what I'm saying, potentially a white kid walking to the, you think he would have got that same treatment face down? Look through his book bag and all of that.
First of all, asking if he's in the hood, yes he is.
That's not what I said. That's not what I said.
If he's in the suburbs,
I was in the suburbs walking to the train.
But listen, you're in the suburbs and
I just made two scenarios. I said that the hood is looking at the neighborhood and the peers, and the suburbs is looking at their interaction with the police.
No, that's what I'm saying. The wrong that happened to you is wrong. I'm not taking away from that, and I understand with a magnitude of anything, there's going to be a pocket of wrong. What I'm saying is I would not exchange all of this for this right here. I do understand where you're coming from. Like this one person or these two people.
What I'm saying is that most of our interactions, even though we're city kids, that's not America. That's not America for most of the black demographic. And we're saying like, yo, if you grew up in New York, most people didn't. Most people that we're talking to right now did not.
But if we're talking about violence in the inner city and how to combat that, and the question was, should we bring back stop and frisk? He said yes. He said find a happy medium. I'm assuming you're saying no.
I'd say I don't give a fuck.
Right? He don't give a fuck. You're saying bring a happy medium. I'm saying that it was used as a good tool, maybe explained a little bit better. I think that is something that should be brought back. I think it's something that should be explained a little bit better to the citizens. I think also urban communities, instead of arguing a lot of things, need to be educated. I said this before, educated on not just the police, what they do, but also the judicial system and what whatever. When the doctors performing the surgery, nobody ever questions all the shit that they do. It's a profession and nobody.
Yeah, but that's an extreme.
No, because you could die. I use that one because in malpractice you could die on the table.
Yeah,
and if you die, nobody knows.
Sitting there on a table choking the shit out of somebody for 15 minutes though.
That's an extreme.
They're both extreme.
But there's also a guy.
Doctors, their intention is to completely save your life.
Not every time. There are doctors who intentionally kill people.
But they
go to jail. There's people who wait till you.
Can I say something?
You act like there's cops just walking around hey, Monday morning.
What's the percentage of doctors that are hired to kill people?
What are the doctors? That's a crazy question. Nobody say, hey, you want to be a police officer? You want to kill someone today? You're hired.
What he's saying is the doctors are not good at their job, and these things are happening.
It's malpractice. People get sued for malpractice.
But at the same time, most people are going to the doctor. Most people are going willfully to the doctor.
Most people call 911. 911 just doesn't show up and say, "Good morning, Mike. I'm
Stop
here."
and frisk. Nobody's calling to be stopped and frisked themselves.
That's because somebody got shot there the day before, probably. So you definitely called and it's a dog whistle.
Yeah.
I'm saying nobody's calling to be stopped and frisked themselves. When you go to the doctor, you're calling to make your own appointment to go yourself.
Okay,
You're volunteering to go to that service.
So let me ask you.
You're not volunteering to be stopped and frisked.
Since you
Wait, no, let me just finish my second point.
Right,
The second point was just about the ski mask shit. The ski mask shit, if you're a criminal, you're not going to get a $150 Balenciaga ski mask. The climate that we're in right now, and the reason that there are young boys walking around with ski masks is because they are expensive. Nobody's going to the dollar store and be like, yo, look at this shit right here. I just got it. Looks like it's knitted. I'm saying the people that are walking around with ski masks want you to be, what do they call them? The hype beast kids. The people that are walking around want you to see what they wear because it's expensive. So that boy that's walking back and forth to the corner store or to the mall wearing that ski mask, he's doing it to look cool, not because he's a criminal.
I'm gonna ask you this.
And he's likely to be stopped because he's going to commit a crime.
I'm gonna ask you a flip question to it. This is a controversial one that I'm...
Let me just... Go.
If we're talking specifically about stop and frisk, name the one incident you've seen on video that's led from stop and frisk to death.
Stop and frisk to death?
Yeah.
I can't specifically say that I know for a stop and frisk. I've seen traffic stops lead to that.
No.
Stop and frisk.
No, name a stop and frisk that you saw on video that, like, you know, these are famous videos.
Is Eric Garner considered a stop and frisk?
No, that was a 911 call.
All right, so again, I don't know if I've seen a recorded stop and frisk ever. So I can't say that I've seen a deadly one.
No, but that goes back to my point. Is what I'm saying is, again, wrong is wrong, right?
Always.
People who die at the end of the result of police officers, they have to do their due diligence to figure out if the police officer is wrong, then they're wrong in that regard. Same thing with doctors. I'm going to stick to this profession because people die a lot on the operating table, right? There's some people who have malpractice, some people who haven't practiced their craft, and you die. How many of us have had friends or relatives that they went for a routine surgery and don't come out of the surgery? At the end of the day, are we calling for overhaul on medical reviews now? For going forward, from now on, it should be no more outpatient surgeries. It should be all hospital, and you have to stay for a day.
Are they required to sign a waiver?
How many black females? Oh, so you should just sign a waiver then. How many black females get on the table to give birth and they're dying at a rapid rate? Yeah. And we don't know the answer to that, but they die time in and time out giving birth to babies. What's the excuse for that?
Why are they not sued though?
No, they probably are malpractice. You don't know. Nobody's talking about
most
that.
Most of the time, they're covering their ass, saying you have to sign a waiver because
some people are not
these things
good
happen.
at their job.
That's the point.
And unfortunately, when you're dealing with police or you're dealing with jobs like what's the name, the end result could be death. And it never looks good. If you're watching an interaction online, and even if it was a good stop and frisk, nobody's gonna say, "Here, sir, I have this gun on me. Take this off of me."
Yeah, but we understand in the medical profession that you're doing this for at least 8 years before you're certified, whereas I, having no experience, could probably become a cop in 6 months.
All right, can I say one thing?
Can I or not?
Yeah.
Listen. I just want to say one thing, right? And like I said, this whole thing with stop and frisk is really affects the inner city and the community. You said the suburbs. 9 times out of 10, if you live in the suburb, the cops know who you are.
Hey, Stuart!
That's not true at all.
100%.
It's not true.
My neighbors know my name. I'm like Trey Songz out there.
Listen. The cops. Listen, I'm gonna tell you something right now.
I'm at Kohl's. I was at Kohl's, bro. I was at Kohl's, right? I'm at Kohl's. Guy comes up to me in the middle of Kohl's. Hey, I love the brickwork you did in the front of your house. So who the fuck is this guy? I'm the only black person in my entire neighborhood. As a matter of fact, you come visit me. You ever bumped into a black person? Everybody know who I am. I'm 1,000% sure. I've been living out there for almost 10 years.
He's the black person.
I am the black guy.
He's the black guy.
I have not got stopped. I'm not saying whatever, but you're talking about the suburbs. It's not a direct comparison.
That's what I said. You can't.
You make good points.
You can if it's most of America.
I think you make good points. I just think that when we're specifically and emphatically talking about New York, we can't. It goes back to what you said. This is just my opinion. I don't think that you could take the extremes of either one of the situations. I don't think you could take the extremes of yes or no. Like you guys have put it in the comment section. I know there's gonna be a lot of people out there.
Who would you rather have your hands on you? A criminal or the police?
No. The question is,
who hands gonna keep you safe?
The question
Who
is,
hands gonna take
should
care of
we
you?
bring back stop and frisk? Yes or no?
And I've
That's
seen
the
what
question.
y'all been doing with the police department, and y'all look really beautiful.
Yeah.
Listen, guys, in the
How long
comment
you been
section,
there?
in the comments
And they stopped
section,
and frisked you?
let us
Yes.
know. Should we bring back stop and frisk?
told you the story.
If so, Tell us exactly how you want it to look, and I think I'm gonna steal your biggest line. Whose hands would you rather have? Criminals or the police? Guys, check us out. Subscribe, click subscribe, like, all that.